speaker, architect, an interior designer, an environmentalist, a political analyst, motivational speaker, and a social entrepreneur. And by qualification, I am an architect and interior designer. And since 2005, I have been designing my own independent projects all over India and outside also. And I have designed resorts and educational projects, and especially with a focus on environmental friendly and sustainability. And over the years, I have had the privilege of designing resorts, holiday homes, townships, temple townships, colleges, bungalows, and consulting for an international Vedic research institute in Pune as well. And sustainability and cultural integrity remain central to my work. But alongside architecture, I'm also active in public discourse as a panelist on national television, on some television channels like Republic, NDTV, Z News, Times Now, CNN News 18, Mirror Now, NewsX, India Today, India Head TV, etc. And I speak on architecture, politics, environment, women's empowerment, and crimes against women, and such social issues. I'm also deeply committed to nation building, along with women empowerment and women-led development. And I'm regularly invited by embassies, universities, schools, and institutions as a keynote speaker on these themes. And as a social entrepreneur, one of my most satisfying initiatives was during the COVID lockdown, when I was able to help more than 10,000 migrants from Nepal, especially, and also from many other communities, with the food and other essential supplies during the lockdown. And it was a humanitarian effort, which was carried out with the support of several charitable organizations. And I also serve as the brand ambassador for One Nation, One Symbol for Made in India, which aims to contribute to the vision of an Atmanirbhar Bharat and a Viksit Bharat. Like I said, I'm a TEDx speaker, and my TEDx talks have focused on architectural identity and how every individual can contribute to environmental protection. And I've also had the honor of speaking on the role of women in nation building at the historic Vasant Vyakhyan Mala, and which has now finished its 150th year. So in 2023, I was also invited as the chief guest at the India Day Parade at New Jersey, USA, where I was felicitated for my contributions to society. Now, with that introduction, it is my honor to officially declare this webinar open. Now, this session brings together some very powerful voices, some lived experiences and perspectives that matter. And we are here not just to discuss a topic, but to challenge mindsets, to question harmful narratives, and to collectively push for a society where every woman's life, dignity, and choices are respected. The theme we are addressing today is sensitive, urgent, and deeply relevant. Conversations like these are not just discussions, they are interventions. These are not something that, this is not a webinar that you attend and then you just go and forget all about it. You don't just take notes, but you make a change in your mindset, and you also help influence others. So these are steps towards awareness, towards change, and towards a safer world for women everywhere. So I thank each and every one of you for being here, for lending your time, your attention, and your commitment to this cause. And let us begin this webinar with openness, empathy, and a shared intention to create impact. So with that, I declare the webinar open. A divorced daughter is better than a dead daughter. This is not a slogan. This is a reality too many families have faced. Before this webinar started, I was speaking with some voices. I was speaking with some of our speakers. And yes, this is a stark reality. And I hope a lot of people will be able to change their mindsets by the end of this webinar. And this is a truth that many women have lived. And this is a warning that we can no longer ignore. We are here to break the silence, and we are here to stay, and we are here to challenge the stigma loudly and unapologetically that a woman's life, dignity, and safety are non-negotiable. So tonight's webinar brings together voices who are not just experts, but change makers. Together, we will explore the cultural pressures, the emotional battles, the legal gaps, and the societal expectations that continue to put women at risk. But more importantly, we will talk about solutions, awareness, and empowerment. So thank you again for joining us, for standing with us, and for choosing courage over comfort. And let this session be a reminder that every woman deserves to live, to choose, and to be safe. But firstly, let me take you through the G100, the global movement. So what is G100? Let me tell you what it really is. It's not just a network, it's a sisterhood. It's a promise that echoes across continents, across industries, across every barrier that ever tried to stop us. So G100 is a global movement of 100 wings, each one led by women leaders committed to creating a safer, more equitable, more inclusive world for women. It's a platform where policy meets purpose, where leadership meets compassion, where women from every corner of the world unite to uplift one another. So this movement was born from two extraordinary visionaries. Dr. Harbin Arora Rai, a global thought leader, entrepreneur, philanthropist, and the force behind Women Economic Forum, All Ladies League, She Economy, and the worldwide sisterhood movement, and a powerful global team of women leaders who believed in one simple revolutionary truth. When women come together, transformation becomes inevitable. So this vision is not complicated, it's crystal clear. To create a world where women have an equal voice, equal space, equal opportunity across nations, industries, and generations. So we are privileged to have with us Ms. Shireen Lakhani, the G100 Australia chair, a strong and inspiring leader who continues to champion women's empowerment across borders. Shireen Lakhani is a serial entrepreneur, bestseller author, and G100 Australia chair, leading with a vision that blends compassion, strength, and unshakable commitment to women's empowerment. She is also the president of the Southern Australia India Business Council, where she works tirelessly to build bridges between communities, industries, and cultures. Her story is that of resilience, a woman who migrated from Hyderabad to Australia, rebuilt her life from the ground up, and transformed every challenge into a platform for impact. From overcoming personal battles to mentoring women across borders, Shireen has become a voice of courage for those who feel unheard, unseen, or unsupported. Through her books, her advocacy, and her leadership roles, she champions one message consistently: women must rise, rebuild, and reclaim their power, no matter what society expects or demands. Shireen is not just a leader, she's a movement, a woman who stands for dignity, safety, and emotional strength. A woman who has dedicated her life to ensuring that no daughter anywhere in the world feels alone in her struggle. Today, we are privileged to have her with us as we address a topic that demands honesty and urgency. Her voice, her experience, and her clarity will guide us through this conversation with depth and purpose. Please join me in welcoming Shireen Lakhani.
Thank you, Rajalakshmi, for that warm introduction. And good evening to everyone joining us today. Before I begin, I want to take a moment to honor two extraordinary women whose leadership strengthens the very foundation of G100. First, our global chair, Ms. Anita Capris, a woman of vision, grace, and unwavering commitment. Her leadership reminds us that empowerment is not a slogan, it's a responsibility. Anita, your guidance inspires every sphere, every chapter, and every woman who dares to rise. We are deeply honored to have your blessings and your presence sharing our journey and shaping our journey today. I also want to acknowledge our youth chair for Australia, Ms. Sarjana Shah. Sarjana represents the courage and clarity of the next generation, a generation that refuses to be silent, refuses to be suppressed, and refuses to accept injustice as normal. Her voice is powerful, her purpose is pure, and her leadership is a reminder that the future empowerment is in strong, fearless hands. Today, we gather for a conversation that is not easy, but it's necessary. A conversation that shakes us, confronts us, forces us to look at the harsh realities many women are facing behind the closed doors. This is not a dramatic statement which we have just heard. A divorced daughter is better than a dead daughter. This is not an exaggeration. This is the truth of our society, a truth we can no longer ignore. Every day, every day, somewhere in the world, a woman is suffering in silence. She is told to adjust, she is told to compromise, to keep the family together, even when her life is falling apart. She is told that divorce is shameful, but dying inside is acceptable. She is told that society will judge her, but the society will not save her. And this is where we as women, we as mothers, as leaders, as a community must draw the line. As a daughter's life is more important than her marital status. Her safety is more important than the society's opinions. Her dignity is more important than tradition. Her mental health is more important than दुनिया क्या कहेगी या लोग क्या कहेंगे. We must teach our daughters that walking away is not failure. Walking away is survival, strength, and self respect. We must teach our sons that a woman is not an object to control, but a human to be respected. We must teach families that supporting a daughter through divorce is not shame. Shame is forcing her to stay in a place where she is breaking. While today's focus is on daughters, it is equally important to acknowledge something society rarely speaks about. Men also undergo violence. Men also suffer emotional, physical, and psychological abuse. Men also fear judgment, shame, and disbelief. Their pain is often dismissed because society expects them to be stronger, silent, and unaffected. But silence does not heal. Silence only hides suffering. So, and at this, with why G100 stands for both G100 women and men. Our mission is rooted in humanity, not gender. Through the Denim Club, we actively include men as allies, supporters, and beneficiaries of safe spaces because ending violence is not a women issue, it's a human issue. Recognizing men's pain does not weaken women's advocacy, it strengthens our collective fight for dignity, respect, and safety for all. As G100, as Vicky, as leaders, as human beings, our responsibility is not just to talk, our responsibility is to create awareness, build support systems, and empower individuals to choose life over fear. Today's webinar is not just a discussion, it's a moment. a reminder that we as society must evolve, a reminder that life is sacred, dignity is sacred, and choices are sacred. Because truly, like a divorced daughter is better than a dead daughter. So let's choose compassion over judgment. Let us choose courage over silence. Let us choose life over societal pressure. So, ladies and gentlemen, it's now my pleasure to invite on stage Mrs. Ritika Mohta, the Vice President of Wiki Southern Australia Indian Business Council. Ritika is a dynamic leader, a dedicated community voice, and a woman who brings strength, clarity, purpose to every initiative she touches. Please join me in welcoming Mrs. Ritika to share her thoughts with us today. Stage is all yours, Ritika.
Good evening, everyone. It is a privilege to be here today, and I want to begin by acknowledging the strength of every individual who has joined this conversation. When we choose to discuss difficult topics, we choose what is this? The growth, both as individuals and as a society. Today's theme, a divorced daughter is better than a daughter, is not just a statement, it is a mirror that reflects the uncomfortable truths we often avoid, the realities we hesitate to confront, and the lives we sometimes fail to protect. Understanding the weight of this topic is necessity. In many families, marriage is treated as a badge of honor, something to be preserved at any cost. But what happens when it threatens a woman's safety, her mental health, her very existence? We often tell our daughters to be patient, to compromise, to adjust, to keep the peace. But rarely do we ask whether that peace even exists. A home is meant to be a place of comfort, not a battlefield. A marriage is meant to be a partnership, not a punishment. And yet, countless women continue to live in fear of judgment, fear of failure, fear of disappointing their families, fear of stepping out into a world that may not support them. This is why today's conversation matters, because silence has cost too many lives already. Here, the role of families and society as a community, we must rethink what we teach our daughters and our sons. We must teach our daughters that their life is not defined by a relationship status. We must teach our sons that strength is not dominance. Strength is empathy, respect, and responsibility. And we must teach families that a supporting daughter through a difficult decision is not shameful. What is shameful is ignoring her pain. A daughter who chooses to walk away is not breaking a family, she is saving herself. While today's focus is on our daughters, it is important to acknowledge that pain does not belong to one gender. There are men who suffer silently, men who face emotional, psychological, and even physical abuse, men who are afraid to speak because society has taught them that vulnerability is weakness. At Wiki and G100, we believe in supporting every human being who is struggling, and through the G100 Denim Club, we ensure that men have a space to be heard, supported, and understood. Empowerment is not a woman only mission. Empowerment is a human mission. When we uplift women and men together, we build a society.
Thank you so much, Ritika. And I
Just
would ask
okay.
Rajalakshmi to take over.
Yes, I think she has a network issue, but yes, she has definitely conveyed some very strong messages. So thank you, Shireen, and thank you, Ritika. Two powerful voices, two powerful truths. So, Shireen, you reminded us why dignity and safety must always come before society. And Ritika brought clarity on how families communities, and even men must be a part of this change. So both messages have hit hard, and both remind us of one thing: silence is no longer an option. So let's carry that energy forward as we continue this conversation. So, ladies and gentlemen, it is now my honor to welcome our first speaker, Dr. Purnima Warrior, who is the founder and CEO of the National US India Chamber of Commerce. So Dr. Warrior is a globally respected leader who has spent decades strengthening Indo US relations, driving international trade, and shaping policy at the highest levels. So she has advised multiple US commerce secretaries, contributed to the growth of over 7.8 million minority businesses, and represented the United States at global platforms, including the United Nations, the World Economic Forum in Davos, and the Global Entrepreneurship Summit alongside Ivanka Trump. And her voice has been featured on BBC News, World News, on the Voice of America, India Today, the Times of India, and major international forums. She has addressed audiences across the world, from the Commonwealth Games in Australia to global CEO summits with world leaders. So, a true bridge between nations, cultures, and economies. Dr. Warrior continues to champion entrepreneurship, women leadership, and global collaboration. So, everybody, please join me in warmly welcoming Dr. Purnima Warrior to share her insights with us today.
Thank you
The
so
stage is
much. This
yours.
was, thank you very much. I am so glad to be a part of such an important conversation, especially with what has happened recently in India. A daughter is dead right after 5 months of marriage. And I want to bring that up because that is what led me to come on this topic with all the astute panelists. Each and everyone has a story to tell, and I have a story to tell as well. And I feel this title is so important that it just pierced my heart, and I could not say no to Shirin. So thank you for inviting me. The I strongly believe that a divorced daughter is better than a dead daughter, and I really mean that, because those words are challenging us to examine our values, our families, as well as communities and societies. We have to be the change we wish to see in this world. That's what Mahatma Gandhi said. Today, all the ladies and gentlemen that are present, we are going to make that change happen by lending our voice today to this very important topic. They remind us of preserving a woman's life, dignity, health, future, and far more important, preserving appearances or satisfying societal expectations. I was a part of that too. But I think today we need to do better for our daughters, our granddaughters, and the future generations. This topic is so personal for me because in 2004, I experienced one of the most difficult chapters of my life. When I went through a divorce, at the same time, it felt like as though the world is crumbling apart for me. And I was, feeling like the world was collapsing. And like many women, I had dreams and hopes for my marriage. Where those dreams ended, I faced uncertainty, fear, judgment, and many difficult questions about the future. And believe me, it was not easy. I was in a state of shock. And yet, when I look back today, I can say that what seemed like the end of the world for me at the time was actually beginning of a very pleasant, difficult, though, but a new journey. And that is why I feel that I that is the reason I wrote a chapter in a book called Falling in Love with India. And in that, my chapter is my journey from the home to the White House. So I was a stay-home mom before when divorce happened, and didn't know left from right where to begin. Because divorce is always seen as a failure, particularly in traditional families. Everyone discourages it, but I would encourage it, because divorce is not a failure, abuse is a failure. Disrespect is a failure. The loss of self worth is a failure. A marriage ending does not mean a person's life has ended. In some case, like in India recently, that is the case. But it shouldn't get to that. I think I liked what Kiran Bediji said in one of her TV interviews. She said, why was that girl waiting for her parents to come and get her? And she called and said that, please, mujhko yahan se le jao. She said she should just pack her bags and leave. And that's exactly what I would advocate too, because as a economically savvy person who has a career, who was very smart, should not have to wait for her parents. But I think this thing should end when relatives stop telling uh, their daughters that stay in the marriage, things will be fine, everything will work out. So I feel like far too many women stay in unhealthy marriages and relationship for being judged by the society. They fear disappointing their parents and fear becoming the subject of the gossip. I was a subject of the gossip too. The entire Indian community here in Denver, Colorado mocked at me, did not support me. The people who supported me, you will be very surprised to know, is all the Americans that were my friends, became my family during that time. So the main thing I want to say is a daughter coming home should never be viewed as a burden. Coming home is an act of courage. Sometimes walking away is an act of strength. And my own journey taught me resilience is one of the greatest gifts we possess. And I think that's what helped me rebuild myself after the divorce, not only financially, professionally, emotionally, but there were moments when the road ahead seemed really uncertain. And I learned that every challenge taught me something. I learned that adversity has revealed strengths we never knew we possessed. And I think I had surprised myself. Not only did I leave home and start with small jobs and build myself up, but when I came with President Obama to India, when I was thanked from the stage by the Secretary of Commerce saying, "Thank you, Purnima, for what you do for United States of America." That was a moment when I looked up and I thanked my parents for the upbringing they gave me to the convent school they sent me. So I know that setbacks are there in life, but opportunities are something we can't see when we are in the storm. But when the storm subsides, then we can see clearly and then we can build our lives. So over the years, I was very, very blessed with the opportunities. And I would say to every woman that today who may be struggling, they should know that your value is not determined by your marital status. You are not defined by a divorce. You are not defined by society's opinion. You are defined by your character, strong courage, dreams, and your ability to rise again. 90% is not what happens to us, you know. It is what you make out of your life after that. That matters. And that is, it's only 10% of what happens to you, but 90% is what you come out of it with. So I would say to the parents, I hope to the parents today, that to be your daughter's safe place, be her support system, be the voice that reminds her that she's loved unconditionally, and acceptance and encouragement may become the foundation upon which she rebuilds her life. And to society, I say this: let's stop measuring women by whether they remain married or not. Let's measure success by whether they live with dignity, purpose, contribution, and self respect. So, with that, I would say that your story does not end with adversity. Your next chapter may become your greatest one. Thank you very much. And I'll rest my case here. I hope with sharing my story, I may have helped somebody in the world. And if I can save one life, my sharing this personal story, which is very close to my heart, is I'm overwhelmed to say that if I can save one life, it's worth living and worth sharing my story. Thank you very much and namaste.
Thank you so much, Dr. Purnima Warrior. for that powerful and insightful address. And your words have definitely resonated with many young, beautiful young women out there. And this is something that I have always been advocating, that women must definitely pursue financial independence as well, for them to be able to stand up for their own rights, for them to be able to take that first step. So, your global perspective, your experience, and your clarity have truly set the tone for today's discussion. So, your words remind us how leadership, policy, and compassion come together to create real change. And we're grateful for your presence and your wisdom. So, thank you so much once again, Dr. Purnima. And now our next speaker brings a message that aligns powerfully with today's theme, that is, no tradition, stigma, or societal pressure is worth a woman's life. Every daughter deserves safety, dignity, and hope. So it is my honor to welcome Ms. Bijinder Duggal, the founder and director of the ASHA Australia Foundation. So Bijinder is a passionate advocate for dignity, safety, and social justice. So she has dedicated years to supporting vulnerable individuals, empowering women, and strengthening communities. Through ASHA, she has given a voice to those who have suffered in silence and continues to champion the belief that every woman, irrespective of age, deserves respect, freedom, and a life without fear. So please join me in welcoming Ms. Bijinder Duggal to share her insights with us today. So the
Thank
stage
you,
is yours.
Lakshmi. Namaskar and good day for Sydney. Dr. Purnima, you have raised the bar so much that I don't know what to come up to that level, but it's a great pleasure to be on the platform on a very important topic, along with such beautiful, passionate, and well known people. Uh, and I thank you. I thank you, Shireen, and to everyone for inviting me. A divorced daughter is better than a dead daughter. What more to say? That speaks for itself. Such a powerful word, such a powerful sentence. When you speak, you just get the whole picture. As someone who has spent, like me, many years working with women, families, seniors, migrants, and vulnerable members of our community through ASHA Australia Foundation, I have listened to countless stories, stories of strength, stories of silence, but unfortunately, also stories of pain. Tonight, I want to begin not with the numbers, reports, or policies. I want to begin with a woman. A woman I met many years ago. She was highly educated, successful, a loving mother, respected by everybody around her. From outside, her life looked perfect, but behind closed door, she was living a nightmare. For over 40 years, she endured emotional abuse, humiliation, insults, control, and above all, fear. Every day she cried. Every day she felt trapped. Every day she wondered if life would ever get better. Many people knew something was wrong. Yet, whenever she spoke about leaving, she was told, think about the family. What will people say? Stay for the children. Marriage is for life. Most painfully, she was told that divorce would bring shame to the family. So she stayed. Not because she was weak, not because she had no options, but only because society had convinced her that protecting family honor was more important than protecting her own life. How many women are still living with this reality today? How many daughters are suffering in silence because they are afraid of being judged? How many mothers cry themselves to sleep because they feel they have nowhere to go? How many women remain trapped because their community values appearance more than their safety? Those are difficult questions, but they are questions we must ask. These are the questions we must talk about. Because violence against women does not begin with bruises, it begins with silence. It begins when we ignore warning signs. It begins when we tell women to tolerate abuse. It begins when we worry more about reputation than the well being. It begins when victims are blamed instead of being supported. And that is why today's message is so powerful. A divorced daughter is better than a dead daughter. Let those words sink in. No family honor is worth a daughter's life. No community reputation is worth a woman's safety. No tradition is worth somebody's suffering. No marriage certificate should become a prison sentence or a lock behind the bars. A woman living violence is not a failure. She is demonstrating courage. A woman speaking out is not bringing shame, she is showing her strength. A woman choosing safety is not destroying a family, she is saving a life. We must change the way we think. We must stop asking women, why didn't you leave sooner? Instead, we should ask, why was the abuse allowed to continue? We must stop asking, what will people say? Instead, we should ask, how can we help you? We must stop protecting those who are abusing with our silence and start protecting victims with our voices. We need to raise our voice and we need to encourage those voices and make sure they are heard. As migrants and multicultural communities, we often carry beautiful traditions, strong family values, and deep respect for our elders. These values are important, but culture should never be used as an excuse for abuse. Faith should never be used as an excuse for abuse. And above all, family honor should never be used as an excuse for abuse. Every culture, every religion, every community teaches compassion, dignity, respect, and kindness. Violence has no place in any of them. I have seen incredible women rebuild their lives after unimaginable hardship. Women who arrived at our programs feeling broken, women who felt isolated and alone, women who believed nobody cared, yet when given support, friendship, understanding, and encouragement, they discovered their strength again. They smiled again, they laughed again, they found hope again. That is the power of community. Tonight, I also want to speak directly to men as well, because ending violence against women is not a women's issue, it's a human issue, it's a community issue, it's everybody's responsibility. The vast majority of men are good men, loving fathers, sportive husbands, caring brothers, protective sons. We need those men to stand beside us, to challenge harmful attitudes, to call out disrespect, to teach boys that strength is not denomination, strength is kindness, strength is respect, strength is self control, strength is protecting those around us. And to every woman listening tonight who may be suffering in silence, I want you to hear this. You are not alone. You are not responsible for the abuse. You deserve respect. You deserve safety. You deserve happiness. You deserve to live without fear. There are people who care. There are people who will listen. There are people who will stand with you. Please reach out. Please speak out. Please know that your life matters. As I come to the end of my talk today, I want us all to remember something. Real change does not happen through one webinar. It does not happen through one speech. It happens when each of us leave here and become part of the solution. When we listen, when we support, when we educate, When we challenge harmful attitudes, when we choose courage over silence, let us build a future where daughters are celebrated and protected and empowered. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Vijinder. That was very well said. That this is not to be seen just as a webinar, and this is not just these are not just some voices, but yes, every one of us here is a change maker, and every one of us must be an influencer and be able to convey these messages to everyone across. So thank you once again, and thank you for that powerful and heartfelt message. And your words were honest, courageous, and deeply needed. And you reminded us that dignity and safety are not privileges, they are basic human rights. And your work through Asha continues to give Asha and strength to those who have suffered in silence. And I also thank you for bringing out the fact that there are many men out there who also support and who also stand strongly with women and give them an equal opportunity. So we definitely need such men in society too, and we definitely salute such men for being that strong pillar of support. And once again, thank you, Bijinder, for bringing such clarity and compassion to this conversation. So, and before we invite our next speaker, we want to begin with a moment of celebration. It gives us immense pride to announce that Ms. Tejwant Kaur has been selected and nominated as the new G100 Sydney Chair. So Tejwant is the founder and CEO of GIA and COO of the Aged Care Specialist Medical Service, a remarkable AI health tech innovator working at the intersection of dementia care, behavior understanding, and compassionate technology. A Sydney based leader and mother of three, she has dedicated her work to creating practical, human-centered solutions that supports carers, clinicians, and families through their most challenging moments. So her contributions have earned international recognition, including a gold award for technology innovation and silver for big idea at the Women Changing the World Global Awards in Paris. So Tejwant represents a new generation of leadership, that one that is defined by empathy, resilience, innovation, and purpose-driven impact. So, ladies and gentlemen, please join me in congratulating and welcoming our newly nominated G100 Sydney Chair, Ms. Tejwant Kaur.
Before everyone says something, I would really like to congratulate Tejwan from the bottom of my heart for accepting this initiative and joining with us and saying we can do it together, Shireen. Let's go for it. So thank you so much. Really appreciate. And congratulations once again.
Thank you so much, everyone. Thank you, Raja Lakshmi Joshi and Shireen, the whole G100 Australia Inspire Sphere team. Thank you so much for giving me this honor. I will aim to reach at the level that we can raise a new level of leaders, the emerging people that we've got, the youth, wherever, whatever I can help with. I'd love to do that. Thank you so much for this honor. Today, we are here because we are going to talk about a divorced daughter is better than a dead daughter. And I stand here fully in that truth. And tonight, I also want to widen this lens, not to dilute this message, but to deepen it. Because if we want to end violence, we must understand where it begins, what keeps it alive, and what we must do differently as change makers. Today, I want to share something with you about my uncle. This one particular day in March 1997, we got a call that my uncle was throwing up real bad. We all took him straight to the hospital. I was very little. I was in school. He was taken straight to the hospital where the doctors told us that it was poisoning. And none of the family members even thought, they didn't even think that poisoning could be a cause. No one knew. Doctors didn't want to touch him without the police involvement, but we were begging the doctors to save him because time was critical. Yes, he survived physically. But can you imagine? The deepest wound was not physical, it was mental. It was the shock and the trauma of realizing that his own wife had done this. The disbelief, even for us. And then comes the next step. And that next step was the shame and the stigma and the societal expectation that as a man, he had somehow failed because he couldn't keep his wife. He tried carrying that trauma, but he never recovered from it. And eventually, with a heavy heart, I have to share that he ended his own life. And that's the reason I'm sharing this, not to compare men's pain with the women's pain, and certainly not to take away from the urgency of the violence against women. We know that violence against women causes profound emotional, psychological, and sometimes lethal harm. And that is why this work matters so much. I'm sharing this because the disbelief, the shame, and the silence can destroy a human being. And women have carried those burdens for generations too. When someone facing abuse is met not with support, but with doubt and blame and gossip or judgment, the violence doesn't end with that incident. It continues inside that person. Stigma and victim blaming are well recognized barriers that deepen harm and isolate victim survivors. So the question comes, where does violence in relationships grow? It doesn't start with that fist, just like how Dr. Bijinder said. It starts much earlier and it grows in silence. It grows in resentment that's never spoken. It grows when one partner carries the burden and the other refuses to see it. It grows in financial dependency, when one person has no financial power and they may feel they have no safe exit. It grows in unequal expectations at home. Today, in most households, both husband and wife are working. That means that the onus of home chores falls on both of them. The expectation that wife or the daughter-in-law should carry the burden of the home must not continue on to the next generation. This next point is what I'm seeing recently. It grows through social media comparison. We see the holiday, the car, the house, the perfect body, the perfect couple, and slowly that comparison becomes pressure, and that pressure becomes resentment. Research on social comparison and intimate relationships shows that these pressures can fuel jealousy, unrealistic expectations, and conflict. And sometimes it grows in controlling or narcissistic personalities, where manipulation and coercion make relationship feel unsafe and unequal. So the question comes, what do we do? I suggest we build better foundations. First, we teach communication as a life skill, honest, respectful,
Emotionally safe communication, not just talking, but actually listening. Second, we build financial independence. Let's raise our daughters to earn, and let's raise our sons to understand that a partner's independence is not a threat. It is a foundation for dignity and safety. Third, we educate beyond degrees. Our sons and daughters, they need life skills. They need emotional regulation. They need empathy. They need boundaries, conflict resolution, self evaluation, and the ability to recognize abuse early. Fourth, we normalize shared responsibility at home. A fair home is part of a safe home. And fifth, we protect safe exits. When a relationship becomes dangerous, the path out must be clear, supported, and free of shame. A divorced daughter is better than a dead daughter. I think about the daughters that we are raising. A daughter who knows her worth. She can think for herself. She's financially independent. She knows the difference between love that lifts and love that diminishes her. But I also think about the sons we are raising. A son who is emotionally aware. He shares the load at home and he doesn't confuse control with strength. He knows that asking for help is not weakness. That is the generation we need to build. Let's raise our daughters who can stand on their own feet and raise our sons who know how to stand beside, not above. Build homes where people stay not because they are trapped, but because they are respected. That is how I believe we can break this cycle. Thank you. Thank you so much. I hope that resonates because it's such an important message.
Yes, definitely. Thank you so much, Tejwan. That definitely resonates with all of us. And you've made such pertinent points in such really good messages. And you have explained everything so efficiently. So, about how one must raise our daughters and one must raise our sons, and how they should have a perspective about each other. So, that is very essential for society. So thank you once again, and congratulations on your nomination as G100 Sydney Chair, and your journey, your innovation, and your heart for community care truly shine through. So you represent leadership that is compassionate, future focused, and deeply human. So we are proud to have you as part of the G100 family, and we look forward to the impact that you will continue to create. So thank you so much once again, Tejwan.
Thank you.
So,
Thank you so much. Thanks.
So, ladies and gentlemen, our next speaker is a leader whose life reflects service, courage, and deep commitment to women's empowerment. So, please join me in welcoming Commander Nishikant Grover, co-founder and global ecosystems lead at Sui Dhaga Global, a decorated Indian Navy commander with over 4 decades of leadership, 2 decades in the Navy and 2 decades in global corporate roles. He has earned multiple Chief of Naval Staff commendations for distinguished service. And his journey took a powerful turn when he witnessed the harsh realities of domestic violence within his close circles. So since then, he has become a strong catalyst for change, championing safety, dignity, and economic independence for women. So, honored with the Legacy of Excellence 2025 Women Empowerment Advocacy Award, he continues to uplift women, artisans, preserve traditional skills, and create global opportunities through Sui Dhaga Global. So please join me in welcoming Commander Nishikant Grover to share his insights with us today.
Uh, Rajalakshmi, I think there's a technical issue at Mr. Grover's side. Let's keep going with the next speaker.
Okay, no worries. Yes, definitely. We will listen to him when his network is rectified. So, our next speaker is someone who believes deeply that empowering women is not just a responsibility, it is the foundation of stronger families, stronger communities, and a stronger society. So, please join me in welcoming Mr. Narendra Kulkarni, a business leader by profession and a passionate advocate for women's empowerment by conviction. So, through Women, a community driven platform he built with his wife Anu Kulkarni, he has supported women entrepreneurs, professionals, homemakers, and aspiring leaders, creating spaces for mentorship, networking, growth, and confidence. So their work expands and extends beyond empowerment into meaningful philanthropy, especially in supporting the education of underprivileged children, girl children, driven by the belief that education breaks cycles of poverty and inequality. So, women stand on a powerful principle that every woman deserves dignity, independence, and the freedom to make her own choices. So, today's theme, that is, a divorced daughter is better than a dead daughter, is one that Narendra feels deeply about. So, through women, he has witnessed stories of resilience and courage that fuel his commitment to creating environments where women are heard and supported and empowered to choose safety and happiness over societal pressure. So, ladies and gentlemen, please welcome Mr. Narendra Kulkarni.
Thank you very much, Rajlakshmi. Am I clear?
Yes,
So
please
first
go
and
ahead.
foremost, good evening to everyone, and let me congratulate Shireen, Khanji, Ritika ji, and if I'm not mistaken, instead of calling her Anita, I would call her Anaita. That would be the proper American present pronunciation of the word. Sarjana Shah ji, Vijender ji, absolutely a big fan of yours, Vijender ji. Unfortunately, Commander Grover is not here with us, but I'm sure he will join soon. Dr. Purnima, Tejwan Kaur, absolutely blown away with what you just said. It was just amazing. And congratulations on being appointed as a Sydney chair for the G100. Then we have Chitraji and Shamaji, and last but not least, Rajalakshmiji and yourself. See, all the, I mean, if I look at my experience and my involvement with something like this is pretty minuscule compared to what all of you have achieved and done. So today, when I talk this subject and on this platform, I'm talking more as a son, a husband, a father, and a grandfather, and a brother. I do not see myself still at that stage where I would like to, cite out my own accomplishments in this area. Absolutely no way. So with that, I will probably, talk about why are we discussing this today. It's not merely a topic for debate, right? It is and it is not a momentary social issue that will disappear with the next news cycle. I think it's a movement that deserves our collective attention. It's our voices, it's a commitment, and forums like these. It's that challenges long-held beliefs. It questions the societal norms and seeks to create that safer and fairer, more compassionate world for our daughters, for our sisters, for our wives, mothers, and most importantly, the future generations. I personally believe I've advocated that in my family, that change begins with conversation and it grows through awareness. And when it talk about transforming into action, specifically the voices that we have heard today are just not stories. It's a call for reflection and change. Needless to say, accountability is very much there. And my hope is that this conversation does not end when we leave this room. It continues in our homes, our communities, our schools, our workplaces. And until the day we can say that this particular topic is no longer required, like how Amitabh Bachchan used to say, "Do boond polio ke and rest is history." What unfortunately, over the last few weeks, India is shaken by Trisha Sharma's death. I mean, regardless of how the process unfolds, one thing is undeniable: a young life is lost, and the circumstances around surrounding her death have forced the nation to confront the uncomfortable truth once again. It's not the first time, and it will probably not be the last time. But again, it is a movement, and every time when something like this happens, it shakes the roots and the beliefs of the entire nation. And I think this is something which resonates with not only just India, but across the entire diaspora. I would like to change the tagline. It is better to have a devil's daughter than a dead daughter. I would probably say that I would have an alive daughter any day over a day. And it is a controversial thing, right? Because despite all our progress, we talk about AI in today's generation, engagement, we can give a lecture on that. We continue to live in a society where our daughters are taught to preserve marriage at any cost, while very few are taught to preserve themselves. And the question is, why is this tragedy happening to our daughters? There are countless women who see part of their own lives reflected in stories like Trisha, not because of their marriage was abusive, but because the warning signs are often ignored, excused, or normalized. It sounds harsh, but it's a blunt statement. Every time we hear of another daughter, a sister or a wife or a mother losing her life because of domestic violence, abuse, coercion, dowry, whatever it is, we are forced to ask ourselves a simple question: what are we exactly debating, and how many more daughters or women must suffer before we collectively accept that no relationship is worth a life? It is an emotional subject where tragedy of these incidents, hardly happen overnight. It's a process, and generally they build over a period of time. Every insult, every threat, every slap, every act of control, every moment of humiliation becomes another episode in an ongoing, long running horror story. It is always gradual and systematic, and it breaks the confidence, it creates dependency. And then the society asks, if something bad happens, and like a lot of other speakers have said, why don't you leave? I think the question should be is, why don't we make it easier for her to leave, rather than asking why did she leave, right? But generations, our daughters have been taught how to adjust and compromise and tolerate, and this becomes the foundation on which abuse, neglect, and sacrifice is misunderstood. It is okay if the men gets angry, or if it's okay the stress is too much, and now and then the ever proverbial thought process. Think about my family. Think about what people say, and like a lot of the other speakers have said, but where they rarely teach is the self-respect, the boundaries that you draw, the right to say no, the right to leave, and the right to be safe. Many women trapped not because they are weak, because they are being conditioned to believe that enduring suffering is a value. I mean, we can keep going on and on and on this subject, but the most important thing is that we should stop glorifying silent suffering as a measure of women's strength. Is not found in tolerating abuse. It is recognizing one's worth and defining the boundary. Strength is all about dignity. It's about self-confidence, self-respect over social approval. A broken marriage can be healed, but a broken life or lost life cannot be, right? And that is what we must create a work culture where safety is never viewed as a failure. I would probably say, as a father, I've always tried to teach my daughter one important lesson. There's a difference between compromising and surrendering. A healthy relationship requires a compromise from both people, and that's where you look at it from a ground reality point of view. The first sign of disrespect, manipulation, or intimidation. I would not even go up to the part of being violent. Should be a sign that should be taken seriously. It should be acknowledged, addressed, and monitored. And no daughter should stay in an abusive relationship because she feels disappointed by her parents. No daughter should believe that her safety is less important than society. What I would call out for the parents is give her that opportunity to talk to you. Tell her that we are there, no matter what, right or wrong. There's always a home, and that confidence is the most important thing. People have, and the speakers have said about what men should be doing, but I would say that apart from that, we should teach that saying no or walking out of a relationship is an act of courage. It is an act of survival, an act of self-respect. There is no shame in choosing dignity and walking away from abuse. I would probably say that at this, a divorced daughter is better than a dead daughter, and a laughing and alive daughter is million times better than a dead daughter. Thank you very much. Shirinji, I'm done. Rajlakshmi.
Uh, uh, Thank you so much, Narendra, and thank you for highlighting the need for women to realize their own self-respect, to recognize their self-respect, and to learn to say no. That is a very important skill, I would say. So, thank you once again for sharing such powerful, heartfelt, and purpose-driven insights, and your commitment to women's empowerment, your work through women, and your dedication to educating underprivileged girls truly reflect leadership with heart and impact. Your message today reminds us that real change begins when communities stand together to support dignity, safety, and choice. So we appreciate your voice and your contribution to this important conversation. So thank you once again, Narendra, for highlighting the ways in which the entire society can make sure that the family, the way in which the foundations of a strong family, and also when a woman should learn to realize that things are not going the way it should. So that is a very important message. So thank you once again, and I really appreciate your contribution towards women empowerment, and also towards this strong initiative, and also your reminder that this should not be just a webinar and not just an exchange of thoughts, but then this is something that we have to carry forward every day, is also a very strong message. So thank you once again.
Thank you.
And so now we move forward to our next speaker. So she is an exceptional academician, an educator, and community leader whose journey reflects dedication, resilience, and an unshakable commitment to learning. So please join me in welcoming Ms. Chitra S., a distinguished educational professional with an inspiring academic portfolio that includes a BCom, B.Ed, double master's degrees, and an M.Ed. So she began her career as a kindergarten teacher, and through years of perseverance and passion rose to the esteemed position of a university professor. So today, Chitra is an independent businesswoman who successfully manages academic coaching centers across Australia, specializing in the NSW syllabus up to the HSC level. So, with expertise spanning English, mathematics, and physics, she empowers students across multiple disciplines with clarity, confidence, and care. So, beyond academics, she is a vibrant contributor to Australia's literary and cultural landscape. She frequently invited as a moderator, keynote speaker, and a motivational speaker. So her writing often explores culture, identity, and the immigrant experience, reflecting her deep intellectual engagement. With a growing passion for law and a strong sense of social responsibility, Chitra aspires to serve the community through legal advocacy, bringing together her academic strength, communication skills, and commitment to justice. So please join me in welcoming Ms. Chitra S., an educator, a cultural voice, and a true lifelong learner. So welcome, Chitra ji. Your voice is on mute.
Sorry. Okay. Hi, sir. Thank you very much for introducing me with that. But with a little correction on that, I'm not a double master's. I've done not triple masters, and I've done my triple graduate.
Oh,
So I just
okay.
added.
My apologies.
No, not at all. Well, actually, I was just that's what like say was like say since my mainstream is dealing with young kids and all. So all the time I just see it up like say I can do something like to bring about that certain good change, especially like say then in their attitude to understanding like say I could say it up like say as that what it could be like respect, consent, healthy relationships and equality and conflict resolution. I think conflict resolution was the one which Tajwinder also mentioned about. So I just try to see it up right from young minds, like right, like say from school days. If we teach them these all particular concepts, like especially with equality and conflict resolution, where they and understand the distinguish, like between what is respect, what is consent, and everything. So it'll become like really very easy, so that when they grow up, to be understanding, they learn to respect, they learn equality, they learn these are like the fundamental values of life, and that brings about like say a big change in their adulthood. So I think like say most of the points like say which everyone has just did say it up that one over there, that this is what we could do. I would just add up only two or three little points up to that one there, where we just see it up like as if we see one thing like say I feel it up, we see that if suppose somewhere there's the violence going on in some family or somewhere we see it up and notice it is going on, we just take it like say is as if it is a private family matter, where I would feel it up like say instead of seeing it up that as a private family matter, we should just see it up like say that it's as a a community problem. So where up like say if we go on continuing like say with that tolerance, it goes on continuing like with that particular family or in that particular community. So I think we should just bring it and then bring our voice to that to see it up like say that has to stop there. So firstly, like say I would say it up like say bring it like say that all into the school education. Then secondly, like say we feel it like say there if we bring about certain laws, we implement these laws, see the effective like enforcement of those particular laws, or just that we should have access to some particular support, or even like say we create public awareness through campaigns and all. So what I mean to say that like say is that we are just trying to sort of like say put the blame onto something. Oh, this could be done, that could be done. But I see it up like so over there, it is a collective effort, I would see. So unless we put in up a collective effort, we really will be very difficult for us to achieve that what we are trying to like say to get our objective. So I think like say with that, I would say, the lastly, I would just mention it up like say that if this particular abuse, okay, if we want it like say to stop that, I reckon it should be, not considered only that it is physical or it is emotional. I think there are many other forms of violence which we should also like say, reckon, consider, and recognize that this could start from there as well. And I would add it up like say that it could be psychological intimidation, or it could also be like say financial control. I think Tajwinder did mention it up a bit about it, but then I thought it like say this is to be like, so I support and I really second her on that. So and then basically then I see it up like say this women remain like say in a dangerous situation because they fear that they're being judged like either by community, first to begin even by their own families, like families, community, or even society. Now that's what I see it up. I saw it up a big change. Like say I was recently down back home there in India, and there one of my friends, like say daughter, going through certain things and like these all. And then when they walked out, she walked out. And so what she chose is like say, to, okay, fine, lead an independent life, lead, like why go and stay like say at parents' place? And which I really reckon like say this is what that women could do, and this is what same thing that Kiran Bedi did, mention in this recent case, that saying that why was she waiting for someone to come and pick her and take her away from there when she was educated, when she was independent? She could have just taken the step to walk out. So those are the things I think that instead of like say that people seeing it as just as a, I would say it up like say we must not see it up like as a, it's a challenge, I would say, like in like cultural norm. It's a cultural norm, I would call it. Okay, that normalizes sort of abuse, and it normalizes silence victims. So I would say like say violence should never be like say dismissed as a private family matter, because it is a violence of human rights and a serious social problem that affects the entire community. So saying so, I would just say it up like say that giving like say this particular phrase, which is just giving a good message, which is trying to say like say a divorced daughter is better than a dead daughter, is not only it's not actually an attack on the marriage. It's rather, I would say, it's a recognition that no marriage should come at the cost of safety, or freedom of life. Like, because for life itself, like say, it's like say it should not come at the cost of anyone's life, for that matter. Okay, so women like say leaving an abusive relationship, it of course demonstrates its courage, and as Tajwinder did say that one day, and I reckon that. So I feel like say over there what we can only build and look forward to building a society where women are valued not for their marital status, but for their right to live safely. With that, I would just end it that, because I think most of everybody has covered it up, everything saying so. But I would still continue with my endeavor to really bring about certain, change in society by changing these little minds. Thank you so much. Thanks for listening to me.
Uh, Thank you so much, Chitra. Very, very, very pertinent points there. And yes, thank you for highlighting the fact that this is not an attack on the institution of marriage, but instead, we're just trying to highlight the fact that yes, at what cost should one go to try to rescue that marriage, and at what point one should realize that this is not something worth saving. And also, I also like the fact that you, having been a kindergarten teacher, you know how to catch them young, and you know how certain things can definitely be taught to young minds, and how people should not be conditioned to view a marriage maybe or relationships in a very toxic way. So I think that yes, that is one of the essential things that people should start teaching their daughters and sons right from an early age, about how to respect one another And this is not just about looking at women as victims and as men as abusers, but also to try to condition them in such a way that they respect each other. So that is another thing that I wanted to highlight and thank you for. So thank you for your thoughtful and inspiring messages and your journey from an educator to an academic leader and cultural contributor, and now an aspiring advocate. It reflects true dedication to learning, service, and community upliftment. So the depth of your experience and the passion you bring to education, culture, and social responsibility adds immense value to today's conversation. So we appreciate your wisdom, Chitra, and your clarity and the heart you bring to every space you enter. So thank you once again, Chitra.
Thanks.
Rajalakshmi, before we go forward, I would like to uh, say heartily felicitations to Chitra Aunty for all her work for society and community. And I would like her to share by herself what she wanted me to share. So, Chitra Aunty, please share what you sent me. I really want you
Yeah,
to
well,
do it.
I'm just now looking forward to establishing, like, since starting it up, something what will be called as a marriage counseling clinic, which will be like say all just a pro bono services to society. Yeah.
That,
So it'll be
That's
it'll be that.
so great to know.
that's
Congratulations, Chitra Aunty.
Yeah, which
Congratulations for your new
my son too would be helping me in that there. So yeah,
I would certainly, with
almost
all
the
of my
same
heart, I do.
qualifications as he is. Okay, thank you so much. Thank you.
Sure. Thank you.
That is truly commendable. And I think now we have Commander Grover with us. So, ladies and gentlemen, our next speaker is a leader whose life reflects service, courage, and deep commitment to women's empowerment. So, please join me in welcoming Commander Nishikant Grover, co-founder and global ecosystems lead at Sui Dhaga Global. So he is a decorated Indian Navy commander with over 4 decades of leadership and 2 decades in the Navy and 2 decades in global corporate roles. And he has earned multiple Chief of Naval Staff commendations for distinguished service. And his journey took a powerful turn when he witnessed the harsh realities of domestic violence within his close circles. So since then, he has become a strong catalyst for change, championing safety, dignity, and economic independence for women. So, honored with the Legacy of Excellence 2025 Women Empowerment Advocacy Award, he continues to uplift women artisans, preserve traditional skills, and create global opportunities through Sui Dhaga Global. So, please join me in welcoming Commander Nishikant Grover to share his insights with us today. So,
Namaskar.
Jai Hind.
I just wanted to check if you can hear me.
Yes, you're loud and clear.
Excellent. Thank you for a very beautiful introduction. I would really like to say that um, there is something which I learned in life, and that was what's an empath and what's an. And I think I was a born empath. When I was a young boy, I went to Puttaparthi with my parents, and I would take out my pocket money and give it to a person who probably needed it more than me. That empathy, I think, turned me into a person who was always at the receiving end from people who were either in need or misused my empathy towards them. And that's how it has remained so far. Um, yes, I'm married. I was married. And that is for 35 years. And yes, I'm a victim of domestic violence, not just um, within my close circles of family, but myself too. And I'm not ashamed of accepting that because for me, um, the revelation came over a period of time. My aunt's daughter, married to an army officer, was mistreated by her husband. Um, and I just couldn't tolerate that. I couldn't bite the bullet saying, here's an army man who has been mistreating my own sister. Um, that led me into probing certain other own aspects of life. I was on another forum on a podcast where I said to this Air Force officer, it's called Men's Talktown, that it's about changing attitudes of our boys towards girls, of our men towards women, and who's most responsible is the parents grooming, what they see at home, what they witness, whether that child is being given the forum to grow, or whether the child is growing in a forum where he is witnessing his mother being subjected to domestic violence, or his father being impacted domestic violence. And most of the time, it is considered it is the women who suffer at the hands of men. But that's not true. The ABS statistics of 2024 says that 1 in 3 women above the age of 15 are impacted by domestic violence. And 1 in 7 men are also affected by mental health. Although I would like to say, we live in a educated society where we are able to measure these figures. Look at some other countries. I wonder really whether we could even just um, work out those figures. And most of the time, domestic violence is misunderstood. As soon as you say domestic violence, the picture is the man is hitting the gun. What are the elements of domestic violence? I think we are in a very educated society today. There are six core, not five, but six core elements of domestic violence. And one good thing about the world is that we have something called as Clare's Law, which was generated or which took birth in the UK because Claire Wood, a lady from the UK, died at the hands of her ex partner. And from there, it became a law. Her father took up a petition. From there, it traveled to Canada. It traveled to New Zealand. So it's right across from our shores, but it has still not found entry into Australia. So, what is Clare's Law? Clare's Law is the ability to, or the right to ask and the right to tell, the right to disclosure. That means even the police and the local authorities are involved in helping people to proactively stop perpetrators of domestic violence remarrying or getting into relationships, which means some lives could be saved. Every day you hear news about women or men dying because of domestic violence or getting into depression. What are we doing as a society? I have a very beautiful friend by the name Joe Cooper who's impacted by domestic violence. So we have a group which works towards bringing Clare's Law into Australia. It's a United Nations founded group. And we took up a petition. We got the right signatures. We went into the parliament. We sat there on, I think, 25th of October, and we got voted in 5:1. So there is lots of things happening. And now we got enough voting towards the Clare's Law becoming a law in Australia at the federal level also. So that's one small initiative. But I think what is going to change things in the long term is this attitudes towards women in the first place, including countries like India, where Delhi, supposedly the rape capital of the world at one point in time. Now, my heart goes out to people who are impacted by domestic violence because I have witnessed this myself. If you say, how does it feel when a woman is hit by her partner? Well, I know how it feels, and I'm not ashamed of accepting it. On another note, this pushed me very hard, and I have a little sister by the name Camellia, and we started a consulting business called Rovelia Consulting, wherein Camellia and I decided that we're going to put 10% of our working efforts into helping women in Punjab affected by domestic violence and drug abuse to find ways and means to elevate their level, use their skills, their artisanship to stitch clothes and create handicraft goods and bring them to the world. So, very recently, we've launched a site called swidagaglobal.com, and we are hosting it on sridhagaglobal.co.in as well as sridhagaglobal.com.au, wherein we picked up a young lady from um, a village in Punjab, and her skills and her ability to create and her ability of empathy comes purely because she has been impacted by domestic violence for good about 14 years. Has a beautiful family, and she had a dream, and it all starts with a dream. If you have a dream, welcome to us. We are dream builders. We we can help you not only dream, but we help you to achieve your dreams. So I sleep happy every night, thinking that I did a little bit today to help somebody change their lives. I've spent some of my most beautiful days working with some of these people in the rural Punjab in the last couple of months, where I not only have the satisfaction of being around amazing people, but also being around amazing families who are resilient to a son seeing cut the hands of his mother, by her father, and run away with money for drug abuse. I've met with people who will do anything to change their lives. I've met people who would die to have the lifestyle we have, and we are overly blessed. Most of us living in healthy lives and having abundance of everything. So why can't we get our hands together and contribute, put in some of our years of our working life back into the community? And I encourage you all to visit this website to probably have a look, and not from any pecuniary interest, because I do not take any profits from the earning of this company, whilst I have a 50% share. I recycle my profits back into the community to maybe buy a fridge, maybe buy a TV for somebody. So this is great. This is great. Thank you. I think there's a lot of noise
Uh,
behind me. I must check those people. I'm
yes,
sitting at a place where there's a little bit of public disturbance.
no problem. Big salutes to you from Commander Grover. And I really appreciate that you consider yourself as a dream builder, and also the kind of direction that you gave towards how women, how children learn by example, by watching how their parents and the elders in their family behave, and also setting the record straight on the issue of domestic violence and how it doesn't necessarily affect only women. Yes, that is true. But most of the times it is the women who are at the receiving end. But also the children should be taught by example, and no amount of teaching them otherwise will help them understand this concept more than observing how their parents or their elders treat each other. So that was a very great way of introducing the concept very early to young children. And again, I thank you, Commander Grover, for your deeply inspiring and powerful message, and your journey, your service, and your commitment to women's dignity and economic independence truly elevate today's conversation. And the work you are doing through Sui Dhaga Global is not just empowering artisans, it is preserving heritage, restoring confidence, and transforming lives. So, we are grateful for your leadership and for your voice in this movement. So, thank you once again, Commander Grover, and Jai Hind to you. So,
Thank you.
with that, I once again, we come to a close of this powerful and meaningful event, and it is my pleasure to invite a woman whose leadership, vision, and dedication have been the driving force towards today's program. So, to deliver the word of thanks, I warmly hand over the session to Ms. Shireen Lakhani.
Thank you, Rajlakshmi, once again for taking us through to the whole webinar. I would say without any glitches or without any technical issues or anything or any issues, I would say. Thank you so much. And thank you, everyone. As we come to the close of this deeply meaningful and transformative session, it is my honor to express my heartfelt gratitude on behalf of G100 Australia. Today's conversation has been courageous, emotional, and necessary. Each speaker here brought truth, strength, and compassion to a topic that touches families, communities, and society at large. My gratitude to all my speakers today. Bijinderji, thank you for reminding us that dignity and safety are universal rights that belongs to every human being. Tejwant, congratulations once again on your nomination as G100 Chair. Your work in AI health tech and dementia care is a powerful blend of innovation and humanity. Commander Grover, your journey of service and your commitment to empowering women artisans continues to inspire us all. Mr. Narendra, thank you for your grounded insights and your dedication to women's empowerment and girl child education. Chitra Auntie, your education's brilliance, cultural contributions, and passion for community upliftment added immense depth to this dialogue. To each one of you, thank you for your wisdom, your courage, and your commitment to change. A very special thank you to our host who conducted today's session with such grace, clarity, and warmth. Your ability to hold the space, guide the flow, and bring out the essence of every speaker made this webinar truly one of its kind. Thank you for accepting our invitation to host and for elevating this event with your presence. Thank you so much, Rajalakshmi, once again. My heartfelt gratitude to our organizing team who worked tirelessly behind the scenes to bring this event to life with dedication and precision. And a very special thank you to our technical team, Mr. Nikhil and his team at Rapid Nest, for ensuring seamless execution, real time publishing, and flawless technical support throughout the session. Your professionalism makes everything possible. On a personal note, I would like to share something with all of you before I close today. I would like to share something very close to my heart, my upcoming book, Finding Light After Loss. This book is a journey of healing, resilience, and rediscovery. My chapter reflects the truth that even in our darkest moments, there is always a spark waiting to be found. A spark that becomes our strength, our purpose, and our new beginning. So I ask the technical team to play the video for me, please. My name is Shireen Lakhani, and in my book, Finding Light After Loss, there is one chapter that changed everything for me. It's called The Day I Set Myself on Fire to Become the Light. Because there was a day in my life that didn't just shift me or shift my path, it buried my entire past to the ground. It wasn't gentle, it wasn't poetic, it wasn't wrapped in comfort. It was truth, the kind that scorches everything when everything falls around you. Cancer, the word itself, that took so much from me. But what hurt more were the people who revealed themselves in its shadow. The ones who loved me only when it was easy. The one who disappeared when I needed the most. And on that day, I made a choice. A quiet, powerful choice. I walked away from half love, from half effort, from relationships that dim my spirit. I wasn't losing people, I was losing weight, emotional weight, spiritual weight, invisible weight, which I carried for years. And when I chose myself, the light returned, not like a sunrise, but like a small, steady, determined spark. And that spark became my motherhood, my leadership, my clarity, my strength, it became the woman I am today. And in this chapter, I share the moment I stopped waiting for someone to save me, and I saved myself. I became the fire, and the fire became my light. This is just one chapter of my journey, one truth, one rebirth, one moment where loss didn't break me, it revealed me. Welcome to finding light after loss. Welcome to the women I became. Thank you. Thank you everyone for watching. This video is a reminder that healing is not a straight path. It's a journey of breaking, rebuilding, rediscovering, and rising again. It reflects the truth that every person, regardless of gender, carries within them the strength to begin again and choose the life with courage. So, what we witnessed today was more than this webinar, it was a collective awakening. We spoke about women, we spoke about men, we spoke about families, we spoke about communities, and the responsibilities we all hold. This session reminded us that violence has no gender and healing belongs to everyone. Women suffer, men suffer, and every individual deserves safety, dignity, and the freedom to choose life over fear, silence, or societal pressure. Our theme is not just about women, it's a call to protect every human being who feels trapped, unheard, or unsafe. Today, we created a space where voices were honored, experience were validated, and courage was celebrated. So, as we conclude, I want you to leave with one truth. When a person chooses safety, they choose life. And that choice must always be respected, supported, and protected. So, thank you everyone who joined us, listened to us, learned from us, and stood by us today. Stay tuned, and we'll be back yet again on 7th of June with yet and again a powerful session. Until then, stay safe, stay strong, and keep inspiring. Thank you, everyone.